Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Reaper Wargaming podcast. We are here with the two OGs in the podcast. We are here with Fulvio and Dave. President Dave, who is just back from what seemed like a month-long holiday. Dave, like you were away for ages. The club did not catch fire, even though potentially there was points at which it may have caught fire. But don't worry, your faithful committee managed to hold it together with blue tack and love. Blue tack and love. But yeah, welcome back. It's good to have you back on the podcast. Good to have you speaking about news, which honestly, since the last podcast, seems to be the most news ever. So we are literally just gonna fire out news stuff at you both for you to talk about. And if you've got something to say about it, we'll talk about it. If you don't, that's okay. We're just going out with news. Welcome to everyone that is joining us on Twitch as well. As always, we love you being here. Please like, subscribe, all that beautiful stuff. If you have a Prime subscription that you can throw our way, we would also love that too. That would be much appreciated. And as always, chat away in the talk away in the chat. Give us comments, give us questions, all that stuff. We're looking at it so we can bring all of that stuff in. But yeah, without further ado, let's just talk about Reaper Wargaming news. First of all, what's happening? What's on the horizon, Dave? And what have we got coming around the corner?
I mean, I don't know what's been happening apart from the place being held together with like super glue and paper clips. But
yeah. That's it.
Well, I mean, I before I went away, I was at Battle of Britain, so that was a good laugh. I got to go down with the Team Scotland guys to the Battle of Britain. That was a pretty wild team tournament, really intense. I learned way too much about 40k in a very small amount of time. So that was fun. And then I disappeared for like 3.5 weeks, so almost a month. So I don't know what's been happening. I've kind of kept an eye on the Discord vaguely here and there. People have appeared left, right, and centre, and all of a sudden I turn up last night, and there's like 10 people who I'm like at the club, like who are you? This is awesome, but like who are all of you people? Which is a pretty awesome experience to have, where you're like, cool, hi, and people are saying hi, and who are you? And you're just kind of heads all over the place. So that's amazing to see that the club just keeps continuing to grow, even in kind of these short bursts. In terms of what's coming up, we do have a team representing Reaper for the first ever time, going along to Clan Wars in December. That's like coming up real quick. I think we've narrowed down the team, and we've got kind of some list chat and some practice games on the go now, which is really cool to see. And we've got really kind of a fun mix of people involved in that, and I think it's something that I'd like to see grow at the club. Having now been down at a big teams event, seeing how it like really works, it's so much fun. It's so much better for like just like everyone feels that a tournament's quite like a draining experience. See, when there's a group of you playing together and like trying to like pull focus and gather points together, it's a whole other experience. It's so much fun. The games are way less stressful, and yet the most stressful you'll ever have. It's a really weird kind of thing. You have to kind of live it to understand it. It's like the easiest and the hardest game of 40k you'll ever play, because you have this kind of psychological, oh god, I'm going to let the team down in the back of your head. You're like, oh no, every move matters, and then you realise that no move matters because there's so many other games combining that everything just kind of balances out quite nicely. So that's fun. So I'm really looking forward to that. Got some events of our own to get planned. We've got some stuff in the diary, but I think we're going to shuffle it about. We have some kind of date changes just due to how busy the hub is for us. So obviously, people will have seen we've shifted to some Thursdays. So it's good to see those filling up as well. I'm hoping that we can do maybe like a pre-Christmas hobby open day. We had a date in the diary for an RTT / kind of fun games day. So I think if we maybe go for the kind of fun games day, hobby day, and we can maybe put that out on the Discord and see what people are interested in, I think that could be really awesome. Because I know the last one, when Leviathan came out, was a massive hit. And just through one thing and another, we've never really managed to get another one organised. So I think maybe something like that in the run up to Christmas could be a lot of fun and just kind of a good way to maybe spend the day hanging out, playing with some toy soldiers, maybe painting some new stuff for those people that, know what they're getting from Santa Claus early or have already received a gift from Santa early, These things always happen. But
yeah.
And then generally looking towards the new year, we've got some fun things happening in the background, especially if you're going to become a fully fledged club member. If anyone's in the Discord or hasn't seen it, we're going to stop taking kind of new membership payments in the next few days, just so that it's kind of fairer, that you're maybe not being a member for only a few weeks and then in the new year paying again, essentially. But in the new year, and I can now, I think, announce this properly, is that for everyone that signs up kind of early bird in the new year to be a member, or signs back up for year 2, which is absolutely mental that we're going into year 2 as a club very, very soon. We are getting a bunch of custom dice that are very, very cool, made up for club members as an exclusive gift if you sign up as part of that kind of early bird kind of window, which will be basically kind of January, February, maybe into March if we're feeling generous, but definitely basically those first 2 months. If you get signed up in those first 2 months, we're going to have some very cool custom dice that basically there will be no other way to get them than
to use a GW expression, while stocks last. Lol.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be if you get signed up in that time. No, because what anyone that gets signed up in that time, I will personally make sure we have enough dice, like manufactured and stuff. Even if it takes a wee bit longer to get, the last however many 2 people, but we'll make sure that's your kind of thank you for kind of committing to the club. And I've got a couple of designs that have come back. They look very cool. They may be purple, they may be not. They may have square corners. They may look almost like GW exclusive dice. So I'm very excited, and I'll save that for now, and that can be my kind of sneaky insider knowledge. The Emperor returns with secrets,
And we promise those dice will definitely only roll 6s unless you're going to explode and then they roll 1.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just don't put them in a toilet.
Yeah, that's it. Amazing. And we also have our Black Friday sale coming up on merch, so please get involved in that over the weekend. Anything that you're wanting, there's discounts throughout our store. Please look out for that. And we also have our objective markers are back on a pre-order, so get your name in for those objective markers. They are hot stuff. I don't know what it is, but there's nothing more. Well, it's maybe not more embarrassing, but having to ask, being like, "Oh, does anyone have a round objective marker I can borrow?" Well, don't worry, because you can now have your own beautiful objective markers. So you will always be the person that's like, "Why, yes, I do have my own ones." So either you use them or you can lend them.
I've just had a brainwave. It's not just that, actually.
From the warp.
On top of that, coming very, very soon, I've just, while I was on holiday, and this is what happens when you're like jet lagged and not really focused. We have been sent the samples or pictures of the samples of Deep Strike measuring tools and like 3-inch, 2-inch, 1-inch widgets for charge ranges and piling in, and a whole bunch of other like really cool stuff from the guys up at Saltar Games up in Dundee. They have made us some very cool like purple samples, kind of club, kind of. If you go to their Etsy shop, if you go to the Saltar Games Etsy, you'll see like the stuff they already sell and they do for like stat check. And we're going to have a very cool purple range of custom. It really does like help. See, just like even just setting up some of the missions where you're like, oh, I need to be 9 inches away from the center. Oh well, I've got my handy little measuring device that has a natural curve on the 9 inches, and we're just going to do this perfectly. And it's like, cool. We don't need dice. I just put that down. Oh, I'm just going to deploy right on the line, and I know it's on the line. So yeah, they're coming really soon as well. That's a fun thing.
Or if you happen to play against someone at the World Championship, Warhammer World Championship thing, there's no more saying, "Oh, this is a 5 or 6 inch movement." But more on that later. Lol.
Amazing. And yes, and Satire Games, Satire Games, Saltire Games even, in the chat joining us tonight, and that's great. Hey. We'll also put a link into their Etsy store as well for anyone who's interested in just having a look at what those things will look like, and then also just the range of stuff that they have on offer, because they have so much stuff that's just going to help you play the game hobby, have a good time playing it. So please just have a look at all their stuff, and they have confirmed that all the stuff that's coming for Reaper is very spicy, and you boys know what very spicy means, so it's going to be a good time. So what we are going to do now, we're going to jump into news. It's our like just general news podcast today, and like I said, there is so much freaking news, and I think let's start with World Championships. World Championships have just wrapped up. There was quite a lot of representation from Scotland, which is amazing. Quite a lot of representation from people that have played in our club. Chat to us in the Discord, come along to nights as well, which is just awesome to see. So we are putting it up on here, and Fulvio, I'm going to give it along to you. Tell us top 3. Any news from the competition? Just give us a rundown of what happened.
Well, it was quite complicated. It was quite complicated, but just to kind of try to make it easy. So there were, I think, 176 players in total. Basically, the winners of the golden ticket. So they won some sort of competition organized by GW. They flew all the way to Atlanta for this massive tournament, which was, again, 8 pods of roughly 20-ish players, I think 22 or something. Some pods were very, very competitive. Some others were still very competitive, but maybe not at the same level. Maybe, I don't know. For us mortals, basically, they were just like a Shark Tank. But yeah.
Definitely a Shark Tank, because that's exactly what the joke that Mikey from Hellstorm Wargaming down in England posted on his Twitter recently, which is a picture of him at the aquarium pointing at a Shark Tank. The second Shark Tank of his... Was it something along the lines of like the second Shark Tank of his time in America?
Yeah. Basically, so all these pairings were done into the pod, and basically all the winners of the first 5 games, I think, went into a very complicated and convoluted series of games at the end, which you can see here on the screen, basically. So the only one that won basically 8-0 was Manichima, from obviously Team England. Is it Team England? Maybe it's in Team England.
Yeah, Team England.
With Chaos Space Marines, he had an impressive run. His main opponent was John Lennon from the US, from Art of War, which ended up second. So we can see there was a bit of controversial moment, let's say, for a game. They were both very tired, and the internet speculated on the fact that, well, Manichima said something instead of something else. Basically, long story short, John used a stratagem to move his aggressors, I think it was, up to D6 inches, but he moves up to the movement, which was 5 inches instead of 6. He rolled a 6, obviously, on the dice. So he ended up behind the wall, being unchargeable, and that kind of swung the game for 2 points. But in the end, someone from the referee, I think, or someone else saw the VOD, and they decided that it wasn't the case. So basically ended up losing that game for like 10 points or something. Basically very convoluted, but in the end it was all clear cut. There was no cheating or anything involved in there. So the internet sometimes just like likes to a bit of drama, right? So what we ended up in the end with Manishima with Chaos Space Marine, John Lennon with Adeptus Astartes. He was playing a very interesting list, which is a Vanguard list, very sneaky. And then we had Chaos Marine again, Chaos Marines with Lachlan Rig from Australia, and then this is basically the top 3.
Nice.
Yeah,
so
we're gonna get
Chaos doing the business at the moment.
Well, Chaos and Eldari. There was a Necron, as you can see, on 6th place. Eldari, Black Templars, Death Guard. Quite a nice spread of players, I would say. But yeah, Chaos and Eldari are still the top dogs, honestly. So we'll see what happens from that point of view. For whoever wants to know what the list of many does, is the usual Accursed Cortis spam. Oh, I need to be logged in. Nice. So basically just like, I think 3 units of Chaos Space Marines, Accursed Cortis with a Dark Commune, which can do the shenanigans that they don't die, basically. 3 Chaos Lords, as usual, 3 Dark Communes. Legionnaires, interesting, which I tried and don't work for me, but obviously he's another type of players. 3 Rhino. The 3 Accursed Cultist Bombs. Chosen 3 units of 5, so very tiny. Forge Fiends and Narglins. Interesting to see that there's not much shooting, there's only 1 Forge Fiend, and there's no Obliterators, which I think personally is the best way to play them, because I mean they are a good close combat army, and the shooting is not really, for me, is a bit underwhelming, but I might be wrong.
I guess this is the thing, though. This is the joy of when you see people come to this level, and when it is a Shark Tank, you discover these lists appear, and clearly there's something works. If you take on 8 of some of the best players in the world, and go all the way in, yeah, because when you actually went through the list there's a bunch of WTC level players, a bunch of people that win win majors and super majors around the world, be that here in the UK, the UKTC stuff, or some of these guys at these big French events and the big Australian stuff, and obviously like the Art of War guys that really dominate the American scene just now. Like, wow, yeah, seeing some of the names there, you're like, oh, okay. Yeah,
no,
good,
absolutely.
Good luck being anybody at that event.
Yeah, there was Liam VSL as well, which won the London GT. I think he won the, what's the name? Another one back to back after Coventry. I think he won or something. That was in between the 2 GTs. Quinton Johnson as well. It was like some really, really good names. Liam Hackett, Australia. And on top of this one, there was a sub competition, let's say. So every player from the country, his country, basically gained points based on performance. So obviously the top dog was the US, because they had like 40 players or something. I think second place was the England, at least for the 40k, and the third place was, I don't remember if it was the Germany, probably German guys, or French, probably one of the 2. So I mean, big teams in WTC as well, obviously.
Great. Amazing. So pretty interesting competition to go and watch. If you are wondering about what competitive scene looks like, go and watch some of those competitions, because like we just said, this is literally just the best players in the world playing each other. So you're going to see some pretty interesting plays, and like what Dave was saying there, just interesting lists as well, like very, weird list that you'd be like, how does that work? And then suddenly they're just winning a load of matches, and you're like, I have no idea how that's winning, but for some reason it is. And it's just good to get into the minds of some of these players and just see why they chose stuff, how it moves, kind of what the shenanigans that end up being like with these things are as well. So next on the list of news that I have, mainly because I have it right here in front of me, is going to be the Mechanicus, their new what's it called? Their new codex has a few leaks, essentially. So
yeah, I think it is.
Well, not leaks. You can say it's a leak. It's like
it's a preview.
It's a preview. That's it. Preview.
Like English is very hard, guys.
Yes,
there you go.
I struggle at this time of night.
Tell me about it.
So I've got it just on here. You've got it on here as well. Good.
Yes, I have it here on the screen, and it is. I just have a quick look, really. So the new detachment is quite interesting because, well, one of the 5, obviously, they're gonna get. This one is that you select an objective marker, basically, and then all the Adeptus Mechanicus models from your army, so basically everything. If it shoots to something that is in range of that objective marker, reroll wound roll of 1. So it's just having a lieutenant on one objective, basically, like Space Marines, and they reroll every once. There's an announcement which it comes with this one, which says that the Tech Priest model only, when is within range of the acquisition objective markers, then again, you select at the beginning of the command phase, you get a 4-up invulnerable save. So this Tech Priest, I think he can go with the small Skitari or something, and they can get a 4-up invulnerable save, so tougher to shift. There is a stratagem which is very similar to the, I think is the non-Salamanders detachment for Space Marine. So basically, when you charge a unit that is only within 3 inches of a transport, they can jump back onto the transport. And interestingly, it doesn't say that you can reselect another unit. So you basically
lose your charge.
Basically, 1 CP, avoid a charge. That's kind of cute.
Exactly. Yeah, that is quite nice. Again, we don't know. Oh, there's the Explorator Maniple. So it's another. No, it's the same. It's the same detachment. Sorry. And then into the same one, there is this one, which in any phase, even this one is very interesting because it's in the Vanguard detachment for Space Marines. Basically, 1 CP. In any phase, you can make a objective marker sticky until the end of any turn. Okay, so this is interesting. So maybe you're playing against Tau, they shoot you out of the objective. No, that is sticky. You know you're gonna die, but that objective stays yours until they get it. What else? There is other stuff. That is another announcement for Court Cybernetica. I think this is for the big robots or something like that. I don't know the name. Don't tell me about names, because I know nothing about AdMech. Basically, they can this announcement can, within 12 inches of a Tech Priest, reduce a damage characteristic of an attack to 0. So
spicy.
That is nice. Good. Yeah. Thankfully, it's just one model.
Just one, but
but once per battle.
You pop that at the right time. That's going to cause you. That really causes problems.
That is nice,
especially because they're like gone through a whole thing to try and kill you, and then every battle round you're like, no.
Yeah. I think it looks like it's a bubble as well, because it doesn't say one Legio Cybernetica. It's just say a friendly Legio Cybernetica or Adeptus Mechanicus within 12. Yeah.
So essentially, this feels a lot like you're building around your Tech Priest.
Yeah, it looks like a castle in a sense, right? So the guy in the center just buffs everyone else, and maybe you hide him behind a wall, and he just it's nice. Very nice. And the other one is another. What is this one? Another announcement, I think. Yeah. The Deadly Demise basically goes off automatically within 12 inches of the bearer. So basically, you don't need to roll the 6 for the explosion. It just explodes automatically, which is cute.
It's cute. I wonder, I'd have to look at the data sheets, but I assume there must be one of the vehicles that when it goes boom real bad. If that's the case, if you're able to do that.
So Legio Cybernetica are just the robots, I think.
Oh, really?
I think are the robots and the vehicles. I mean, Legio Cybernetica or Adeptus Mechanicus vehicles. What the name of the army is? Adeptus Mechanicus. I'm checking real quick.
So saying AdMech vehicle, so like I guess you're looking at the like little hover tanks or the dune crawlers and stuff,
or the chicken.
Yeah.
The Castellan robot is a vehicle. Doesn't have a keyword at the moment. Cybernetica, which is interesting.
So this will all be coming very, very soon then.
Yes.
So this is
the
new detachments, very, very new, as in kind of moving away. I wonder if they'll get as many detachments as Space Marines did.
I think it says 5 at the beginning of the article.
Does it say 5?
Quickly. I think it says 5. Battle plans, blah blah blah. We've seen all 5 Adeptus Mechanicus attachment, may be used by any commander of the machine cult. Yep, so it's 5 for everyone. All right, okay.
There you go.
Cute. What else?
Is that going to be the same? Is that going to be the same for smaller, like sub armies? You know
well,
what I mean?
that is to know. I think is interesting. We don't know yet. It might not. Some say it might be just 3. Some say it might be 5. But then, if they get 5 detachment, you can't use the main ones. I'm assuming.
Yeah, of course.
Unless it becomes we know our Warhammer gets completed very quickly, very, very soon. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
The last one is another battle tactic stratagem 4. So battle tactic means that you can spam it if you have something like that. So one Legio Cybernetica or a vehicle has a ballistic skill of 3 up and ignore cover. So this means that your indirect will shoot on a 3 up, ignoring cover. Excellent. That is exactly what we wanted.
But only with units in the range of the selected objective marker.
No. This is just a stratagem. You can use it on a vehicle, for example.
Yeah.
Sorry. And one objective marker. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So okay, so you have to.
Yeah. It's like the command that we're going a little bit back to that command phase Mechanica style, where they have a number of stratagems that just get pinged off at the start and you kind of play around it. Am I that impressed with this stuff? I don't know if reroll 1s is that good an attachment rule.
Well,
is
if
it?
You think that
but on one objective marker.
Yeah, it's 1s to wound though, so it means that it's not too bad. I think it depends. I mean, the amount of shooting that the AdMech has is really impressive.
I don't know. You put that on some of these missions where objectives disappear, or if your home objective means nothing, so you're playing in the middle of the board anyway. That could get really annoying. Where you basically say you either put it on the middle or you pick a side and say, if you go to this side, I'm just going to shoot you off it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
What I will say for my GSC brothers and sisters out there, we actually have that on our acolytes anyway, so remember that. You get reroll 1s to hit and wound on those babies, so remember. Do not forget that.
But no, I think that's AdMech's a weird one. Like AdMech's always had a bit of a skill ceiling to really utilize properly, and I think in many ways it needs to have that, because often when they are good, they are really good.
Yep.
And so you have to kind of balance that out with being quite a tactical thinker to really utilize that strength. I think it's great when these books have strength, but I think there needs to be a level of skill to utilize that strength properly. I think that's the fun thing about when you the idea of you're computer programming your army to get better step by step. I think it keeps some of the fluff there as well, without being like too dialed into it. no, we are not bringing back the AdMech Horde. Thanks, chat. I do not want 60 odd vanguards teleporting around the table. No, thank you.
Well, in a sense, he's back already because you have like 30 Skitarini Vanguard and 30.
But
whatever
do
they
you
call.
remember but do you remember when literally they used to be like Necrons, except they actually had good guns?
Yeah. And a good invulnerable as well.
Oh, look, I'm deployed here behind this building. Oh, it's my turn. Cool, I'm now in your deployment zone. Cool, you're dead.
Speaking of an army that can do that, actually, shameless plug, let me share the screen again, which can go straight into the second... into
the Necrons.
Thingy. Summoning the dynasties by accident.
Speaking of which, exactly, right. Necrons, they're all cute, blah, blah, blah. They're gonna get, I guess, 5... No, it doesn't say anything. Okay, they're gonna get 5 detachment. Happy days. Yep. So this one is suspiciously close to the Grey Knights one. I will
say
it's
that
exactly
it's
the
quite
same.
a lot. I will say, has it been that creative a process making these indexes?
Yeah.
Or are they just combining all the indexes and shuffling them out and giving a couple of the index things, another couple of the index?
Who knows? These taste like, yes, you can copy my homework, but change them a bit.
Yes. Yes.
Well, they didn't. Spoiler alert.
Well, technically, Necrons have been around longer than the Grey Knights.
Yeah, that's true. That's quite true.
They've been sleepy, so
Yeah.
And they do have less deep strike keyworded.
Yeah, that's true.
For now,
units. Yeah. For now, yes.
We've got the fancy new teleporting character on the way, and I would imagine he gets to drag around something with him.
Yeah, that's actually true.
Yeah, I think I need to buy 3 for the club then. Right. So basically this one is exactly the same. So Necrons are quite slow, and as every other Necron player will tell you, until they faint. So this one says that if you're not in engagement range and you can, in a strike force, so a 2,000 point games, teleport up to 3 units, they can go in strategic reserves. This means that this happens at the end of your opponent's turn. So if you end up in turn 1 and they're not in engagement range, you lift them and they can come back next turn at the end of your movement phase, 9 inches away. Which actually helps with the short range of some of the weapons. They have a bit of AP. I don't remember if the Ghost Flayer or the Ghost Reaper, which one is the one, but it's quite interesting because you can easily get into short range and blast a unit to bits, or possibly 3. Right, what else have we got? We got these enhancement is for the Hypercrypt Legion, which I think is the same one. Yeah, exactly, same one. So basically for 2 CP in your charge phase, if you have 1 unit, so it's quite expensive, it's 2 CP for 1 unit of Necrons that came into the battle. Can appeared on the battle thanks to a monolith tool.
Who's running monoliths?
I know.
Well,
this is very specific.
This is very specific.
This reads like 9th edition, where I'm going to get my very lore accurate stratagem that I'm never going to get to use.
Well,
but I could be wrong.
I don't know. I think I've seen someone playing one, or possibly it's 350 points. It's quite expensive, but just reading now what it does. The Eternity Gate means that in your enforcement phase of the movement phase, obviously, you can you can set up a unit anywhere on the battlefield, wholly within 6 inches of the model and not in engagement range, and you cannot declare a charge. But then you pay the 2 CPs and you can basically be like 1 inch away, 3 inches away, and basically charge. For 2 CP is quite expensive, but is, I don't know.
Well, so I guess it would be interesting, like, can you put a bunch of Praetorian Guard in a monolith?
The monolith doesn't...
Or is it just warriors?
doesn't transport anything. The monolith just teleports stuff. Just infantry, though.
Okay, so there is some spicy combat units that could, for 2 CP, disappear, run through the monolith and charge. That's cool.
Yeah,
but
funnily enough,
monoliths
actually,
aren't cheap.
No, it's 350 points. It's quite expensive, but I would like to highlight the fact that the 3 units here that you can teleport anywhere on the table, it doesn't say anything about infantry, so it can be a monolith, I'm assuming.
Oh my god.
I'm double checking just one sec.
No, but the problem with that is...
Yeah, the monolith has deep strike, by the way.
But that's going to happen in reserve.
Yeah, so the monolith comes 9 inches away, and then you can teleport thanks to the monolith within 6 inches of the monolith himself. So you're 3 inches away from a unit, and then 2 CP you can charge them. Well, it's very cute.
Well, you'll still need to be 9 inches away from your opponent through that, with the monolith. I would imagine.
No, with the monolith. But the monolith, when it teleports stuff in it, it doesn't say anything about.
No. You can be within. Because it literally says under here, potentially within 2 inches of their target.
Yeah.
Does it?
Charge. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So that would be
that's going to be a problem.
That is very, very
but
it's going to be a problem for like one guy at one tournament around the world.
Yeah, because who has 2 CP nowadays? Like, find me that person.
I know.
I do. I usually have a turn where I have like 5 playing Votan, but that's just me.
Yeah, so that's the solution then. Monolith in Votan, and there you go.
Yes.
Easy. The monolith, by the way, is a toughness 14, has a 2-up save and 20 wounds, so it's not exactly light.
That's not that good.
Not bad, but it's not that good. I don't know. Toughness 14. It's not bad. Anyway, that's a cute thing.
It's bigger than all the terrain that's going to be on a board. It can't move anywhere.
Maybe on WTC is a bit tricky. I think in
you literally
just
slap it down right in the center objective or whatever.
Yeah,
and then you bringing stuff in.
You just teleport these guys and see. I don't know how the melee of Necrons is, to be honest. I don't think they have massive AP on the what are these called? These guys. So I don't know. Scorpic destroyers. Yeah, I don't know what the stats here are, to be honest.
I mean, everyone says melee's garbage this edition, and then you get Anthony Vanilla, who's just recently won the Cali Cup 2 weekends ago with World Eaters, just rickrolling people undefeated.
Yeah.
But I guess if you can only play in one phase, I suppose you should be allowed to be quite good at it.
You should be good, yeah. So the Scorpic Destroyers, just for info, are 4 attacks on a 3-up. Strength 7, AP 2, 2 damage, and when they do a melee attack, they ignore any or all modifiers to the weapon skill and or to the attack hit roll. So the Scorpic Destroyers are quite good at what they do. 100 point for 3. So yeah, not bad. Then what else? Then we have a Destroyer Cult. Okay, so these are quite interesting because they're quite lore accurate. So Destroyer Cult is all the Scorpic Destroyers, Heavy Destroyers, and blah blah blah, that sort of jazz.
Blade ones here as well.
Yes, I think so. This is for flayed ones. It says when in your opponent movement phase, after they fell back, one destroyer unit or a flayed ones, you roll a d6. On a 2-5, the enemy unit takes d3. On a 6, they take 3 mortal wounds, and then you can make a normal move as close as possible to the enemy guy. Basically, you cannot fall back from these guys, or you risk mortal wounds. Yeah.
Okay.
That's very interesting. It reminds me of Emperor's Children in the previous edition. And then there's the last one that they announced is this battle tactic again. So you can... Oh, the other one is a battle tactic as well. So you can possibly... I don't know if you can join anything to flayed ones, but Destroyer Cult of flayed ones from your army that was not below half strength. Okay. So they can reanimate the protocols. They can activate the reanimation protocol. Sorry. Okay. That's interesting for 1 CP.
No more. But luckily, for people that have that ability to increase, this is probably the only battle tactic that you're probably going to want to increase to that too. The other ones are not that strong with the Necrons.
Vect that straight away.
Yeah, it's literally as soon as it happens.
And Vect.
So, yeah,
and you know what? Yeah. And double Vect.
Yeah, because anyone doing that for 0 CP, I'm like, not that into.
No, bro, you're gonna. I will literally start running Bjorn and an assassin again just to be like, no, double Vect.
Double Vect.
8 to the CP.
Yeah, exactly. Amazing. So we've gone through the 2 codexes. We've actually seen a really good timeline of when they're planning on bringing out new codexes over the next sort of year and a bit.
Yeah, it's gonna be very good.
It looks pretty good. It looks pretty tight. As always, with the poor Grey Knights, it's like 5 years later, the Grey Knights might get something down the line.
You'll get them eventually.
At some point. But we have a mystery codex in there as well. There's been a lot of speculation online. And I suppose I just want hot takes from you two. What do you think? What do you think it will be? And what would you... The other one is, what would your dream one be?
Oh, that's easy.
Okay, so it's gonna be Codex Space Marine 2.0.
Yeah,
Just in case this first one we had to start the edition wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
And they obviously didn't have enough factory time to get all of the new Space Marine kits ready. And so we'll have Space Marine 2.0. More Space Marines. All of the firstborn kits that we've just lost are actually getting the Primaris treatment, and they're going to come out in this next wave.
Yeah, sure. Why not? As the good Anthony Vanilla says, is a subscription service, Space Marines. So basically, you always need to buy the new.
So you don't need to buy a new codex. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very accurate, actually. Right. What would you like instead? I know that was what you like. What you think it is, actually. Sorry, Dave.
Yeah, that's fair. It's a close one. I really like the kind of, from a narrative side point, I really think we deserve to have an Emperor's Children along with a proper Fulgrim release, because one of the things in the videos and stuff, when they did bring out the Fulgrim that's just come out for Heresy, they did say this is not his 40k plastic form. Like, they did say this is still to come.
Yeah.
So I would very much like it to be really push the narrative of, cool, we've got the Lion back now. Along with very sexy new Deathwing Knights models for the Space Marines. Lol. But I think it would be very cool to just see all of the Demon Primarchs, like, kind of really pushing back the narrative. With all of their legions, almost like you've Abaddon's had his crusades. Your crusades have all been garbage, and all of the demon primarchs are here to like really put pressure back on Terra. I think that'd be really cool for the narrative and the lore, and open up some new kind of stories for the Black Library to explore as well for us. And just generally just. Yeah, hey, money for the money god.
Money for the money god.
I mean, after all, he's not Warhammer. Yeah, he's Warhammer 40k. He's not a subscription service, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's clearly a subscription.
The real secret to the lore is that James Workshop is actually the final Chaos God, and James Workshop is the Chaos God of money.
James Workshop is one of the missing legions. He's the second legion.
Greed, the greedy legion.
But I think it'd be really cool for that. I just know that there's some really old sculpts that have got kind of that kind of Emperor's Children's vibe that deserve a refresh in the same way that the World Eater's got. And I'd love to see that, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I think what I really want from a selfish perspective, though, is that by having all of the Demon Primarchs by this point, it opens up a return for like more of the good guys. You know, it opens up the idea of, you know, the White Scars to get the can back, Space Whales to get Lehman Russ back. You know, Corvus comes back. There's. I think
we want all that.
Like that's like it's almost a shame that we don't have that. Like just from like a thematic game point of view, like
you
deserve to have all you deserve to have all these big heroes. No, we're not playing.
Yeah, you just need to play Heresy. Just play Heresy. You have all of them.
No,
you have them.
No. I'm actually stuck like 10,000 years back the way I'm still reading Heresy, so I don't know. I don't know what you're even talking about right now. Right.
So for me, that's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see Emperor's Children, but I don't know. What about you guys?
Yeah, same.
I think for me, I would love a Kroot army. I know that's probably not what's going to happen, but I just love the models, and I actually love the lore. I think they could do some really cool attachment stuff around them being able to take rules off people or something, because you know how they like eat people and take on some of their attributes. Like just be able to take like bits off other armies. I think that would be a really cool mechanic and something we haven't seen before. And just make them quite interesting to play. And yeah, I love that just how they kind of look like very fantasy over sci-fi. It's kind of like a little bit more sort of Star Warsy, if anything. And yeah, I think that is probably 100% not what it's going to be. But yeah, someone said in the chat, and Al has said in the chat, Dark Mech, and I think potentially Dark Mech, they brought out lots of different sort of Dark Mech-esque models that could potentially just be the
and then obviously
sort of the gateway model into them coming out, and they've kind of talked about it before as well.
Well,
Dark Mechanicus could be very cool.
It could be very cool.
If you remember in Blackstone Fortress, there were all the different sculpts that in the end became like the Chaos Space Marines became like the actual new Space Marines. The Chaos Lord was in there, and actually the current Chaos Lord model. And they were the Negavolt cultists, I think they're called. So the cultists with the flame flames thingy. So that's something that might be in the same kind of idea of friendly. He's really trash, but anyway. Yeah, that's an option. My money is on Emperor's Children though, because you can complete the 4 gods of chaos, and you need like new Noise Marines, a new Lucius, possibly maybe a Hell Brute, which is a Noise Brute, which was amazing. That model, I regret only buying one at a time. It was really,
of course,
really
you
cool.
have a model I've never heard of.
What's the name? Yeah, it was so in the past, like before the Elbrut came out, which was the plastic one, the Chaos Space Marines had like weird, like small dreadnoughts, which were like really, really ugly, and in metal, by the way, or pewter.
Yeah, I've had metal dreadnoughts. It's just I don't I forget the amount of like metal and resin. By the way, the old metal and resin kits that you used to be able to get for dreadnoughts. I wish they'd come back.
They were really, really cool, and I'm sad I only have one actually. And you had like one for every kind of god in a sense. So you had the Nargol one, which I think it was a Forge World one, which now is dead, by the way. That's another news for you guys today. Forge World is not more. Yes. We'll get back to that in a second, because I have some ideas about it. Might be even a rant, actually. And then you had like the Noise Marines one. There was a Cinch one, I think. And I don't remember if there was a Corn one, to be honest. But yeah, Noise Marines and Lucius really need new sculpts, because you can't get them anywhere. So let's see. We're hoping.
And Fulvio, you took us on to what's happening with Forge World. So do you want to explain a little bit more for everyone and give us your thoughts on that?
Yeah, very quickly. Basically, they merged the old and the new. The old Forge World website and the old Warhammer website into one. Now it's called Warhammer, not Games Workshop anymore. So everything is in there, and you don't have the distinction between a forge wood or a plastic kit. The only thing that it says on the label, it says 15 plus, I think, expert kit or something. So you know that kit is resin. The ranty part of this one is that they're still selling stuff that is legend, or at least that is only usable in Horus Heresy. So that stuff that is like super expensive, like Brass Scorpion and expert kits, they still sell them, and they don't tell you that you can only use them in not the whole Warhammer, just like part of Warhammer, which is the Heresy. But that's the rant part. The good part, I think, from me is that now everything is gone. Basically, everything is in a single box. So when you have the codex, like from 11th edition, I'm assuming, you won't need the Forge World. What's the name is? The Forge World
compendiums and stuff.
Compendium, exactly. That has always been a point of contention, because we all remember that Forge World has either been really, really good or really, really bad. So the units weren't balanced properly, because apparently the team that was writing the rules was a different one. So now everything is into one single label. So hopefully everything is written in the same time. So you might have some kits in resin that you can use, or maybe not. But I don't know. They will probably find a way to sell us another book anyway. Don't worry about that one. But the idea behind is interesting. The fact that all the rules are now in the same. So if it's not in the codex, basically, you don't need to find the unit, which is, I don't know, like a Contemptor Dreadnought somewhere else.
Hey, leave my Contemptor Dreadnought alone.
It's still a thing.
I might just, do you know what? I might just play Heresy to bring him down and ruin everyone's life.
Contemptor are really good in Heresy. You really, walkers in general are really good.
Vulcan really Contemptors just everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Iron Hands, baby.
March of the Ancient. You're one of those guys that would like just play Dreadnoughts, March of the Ancient, and he's like just ruining your day.
But yeah, so other stuff, we have a new game type come in. It's essentially Warhammer 30k for ant people. It is essentially Legi. I always like have to work my way up to actually saying this. Legionis Imperialis. I think that's right. It's close enough. You know what I'm saying. Essentially, what it is it's meant to be. It's epic. We're back in epic, and it's meant to be like you're looking down on this battlefield from your ship, and you are like moving thousands of troops all at once. And I think what's really cool about this, I've actually read some of the rules and stuff around it, and it is complicated. It is complicated, but I think what's great about it is the ability for narrative campaign work that is being able to play like the whole of like the like the massacres, like Crash Site Massacres, like all these like epic things that you've actually read about in the Heresy, being able to just be like, hey, why don't we just play that and play it out and see what happens? Like instead of having to be like, well, we can play out a bit of it because we've got some models. This is literally like you can just play out the whole thing. It looks really cool. I think the models are really cool. They're really, really tiny. So in terms of painting, it's going to take you not that long because you just airbrush, dry brush, whatever, like really, really quick. You're going to be able to put stuff together. It is quite expensive because you need quite a lot of it. However, like, I don't know, if you're into it, like people are going to pay it just because, like, if they want to play it, it's going to be played. And it looks already in our Discord. So people that aren't part of the Discord that want to join, please do. That's all going to be in the details and in the description below. Please join us up. We have players ready to play, like, literally as soon as it got announced, people were like, when can I get my pre-order? When can I get it? As always, the pre-orders lasted like 10 seconds or something like that.
I don't know if you saw. Though like the cheeky thing is, they pulled a sprue out of the starter box. Oh yeah. So there's one of the one of the tank sprues they've pulled out and is now a separate sprue.
The Kratos, yeah.
Cheeky.
Yeah.
Well, did they announce that before they sold it?
It was in all of the build-up. It was in all of the marketing. It was in everything, and then they pulled it. They pulled the sprue from the set.
Yeah.
James Workshop found out. You know what I mean?
It was too convenient. Just take them out. Just they will buy them eventually. Just take them off.
Yeah. But what you've pointed out is right to really enjoy, this new scale game. What you need is you and 17 of your friends to paint the exact same boxes in different colours, and then play toy soldiers on quite an outrageous scale. The terrain, by the way, I've seen the terrain. The terrain looks awesome. Yeah. They have scaled, but they have made some of the most complex terrain, and they've made it some of the nicest terrain that GW has arguably ever done. And then they've shrunk it all down. And I watched a video recently, and it looks like an absolute pain in the dick to put together.
Fun fact, that terrain wasn't made for Legionis Imperialis, was for Adeptus Titanicus.
Really?
Oh, yes, okay. And I might have something in the loft. I need to check.
Okay, cool. Is it... So does all that terrain, will that have all its own terrain rules, or are they just keeping with...
Yes, which is very fun, yeah.
So Warhammer actually can make different terrain rules that aren't just a ruin.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you more, actually. And I'll tell you more. It's very I've been into I've gone into a rabbit hole a couple of days. So I watched a couple of reports, basically, battle reports. Basically, the terrain can be garrisoned, so you can go in it with your troops and you can shoot from the windows. And if tanks or heavy weapons shoot at the terrain, can destroy it or damage it. So it becomes a ruin at that point. It's very modular and very interesting.
So the terrain kit actually has rubble piles and stuff that you can put in the terrain. If you take the time, you can magnetize all the terrain and basically blow up walls and blow up spires, and inside the footprint of the building you can collapse. You can have basically rubble heaps that fill the space of where a whole chunk of the building should be.
Yeah.
The terrain looks see if we had terrain for that 40k, I would buy. We'd probably have to spend half the club budget just to buy it because it would be phenomenal.
Yeah, it would be awesome.
Yeah.
But the rule is Games Workshop, each different game type isn't allowed to actually use the good stuff from each one on the others. So that's the rule. Each one has to have its own unique thing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it would be amazing. And I listened to, if you haven't heard of Tabletop Tactics, please check those guys out. They do some amazing content as well. And I was listening to their podcast today, and they were talking about lots of different stuff about rules, but certainly about terrain, and just saying, why is it only in cities, and why is it cities without windows, and why is it only ruins? Is there no other rules that we can have for terrain? And it is a bit of a shame sometimes when you see other game types getting all these cool rules, and you're like, oh, that would be pretty cool if we could also have that in 40k as well.
Some of the Mechanicus and Ash Waste terrain kits, they are awesome kits.
So cool.
But the problem is when you actually try and play a game, they are impossible to move around, move up and over. I remember playing games on them in 8th edition, being oh, I want this to be really cool, and it's just so clumsy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's one of the sad things, about terrain and this game that we love to bits is it doesn't always balance out for us the way they would like it.
Yeah, that is.
However, one thing, by the way, I don't know if you saw this. This kind of flew under the radar. They have proven that they can make you whatever the hell you want at GW to appease the fact, to appease all the Lord of the Ring nerds like myself. I don't know if you saw this. We are getting semi-transparent with a colour tint Army of the Dead for the Lord of the Rings strategy battle game. Yeah.
Whoa.
So they have made clear resin Army of the Dead, but it's got a colour shift filter at the bottom. So it's gonna get a greeny teal colour shift from the bottom up to clear resin. And they are so pretty.
Wow.
And they've said so yeah, like imagine they did that.
Yeah, you heard it first, guys.
They did that
a
for
Lord of the
other
Rings
things.
at the club.
Yep. I kind of, part of me wants to spend probably way too much money on what they'll cost, because the pictures just look amazing. I just about I thought when I first saw them, I thought somebody had shared them on Facebook, and I thought somebody had done it themselves, and they'd made like molds and something, or like had to like make them themselves. And then I saw the link to GW that they are making these like outrageous resin models. That I'm just like, if only they did that for a bunch of like other cool things in our games. And it shows you the technology's there, and they're willing to do it when they want to. So it's kind of there's also kind of excitement to that of like, oh, what could they do next in that style? Exactly.
And I would say like their sculpts are getting cooler and cooler. Like some of the new sculpts are just like unreal. Like I'm excited for if they do bring in Emperor's Children or whatever, what they actually would do with those new sculpts, how they could make them like as gross as possible, because you need Emperor's Children to be like horrid, like really horrid,
beautifully disgusting
things. Yeah, beautifully disgusting, you know. And talking about beautifully disgusting, seeing just quickly before we wrap up here, the new Night Lords.
Oh my god,
are real cool. I love that standard, which is just like literally a human and like flayed skin hanging. And I'm thinking of just the conversions you could do with that, with maybe putting like a some sort of like different head on that, Space Marine head, something like that on that as well. There's just some cool stuff that can be done there. And yeah.
And the banner is amazing.
Yes.
Nice. The cloak, the sergeant's like skin cloak as well. A bunch of the heads. That has to be one of the coolest. And it's because it's just going to be an upgrade sprue.
It's just an upgrade sprue, yeah.
I hope so.
Because when you look at the rest of the models, it's just standard. A lot of it's just standard bits.
The heads are a bit different. But
no, but the legs, the torsos, and a whole bunch of other bits are just the standard Legionnaire.
Uh-huh.
So it looks to me, at least, that it's just going to be quite a badass upgrade sprue.
Fingers crossed.
Because I thought it was a kill team.
So it's a kill team, but so it is in the kill team, but it appears to be based off of the Legionnaires, like basic Legionnaires kit, with an upgrade sprue. I could be wrong. But when you zoom in on basically some of the poses, and like if you look at some of like the leg and torso armor, that's quite generic and very just standard chaos. And then it's like various arms, shoulder pads, heads, and kind of dead animal bits that's kind of glued in place. But I would, could be wrong. What if we're going to get... To go back to our previous discussion, what if this is a teaser for
Night Lords?
Codex Night Lords?
Yeah.
Like...
That would be wild. And then they bring out Kurz as well.
Like, that would be very unexpected.
Yeah, Conrad is just dropped.
Allegedly dead, but...
Hey, everyone. Yeah.
I'm not dead. I'm not dead.
I've just been in the darkness. I've just been in that back bit where it's really dark for ages, just sitting there.
Just having a little emo moment, and it's like, look at my wings. I have wings too. And he's just like half bat.
Yeah.
Oh, look at me. He's hanging upside down. just to be really modelled weirdly.
Yeah.
He's just Batman. He was just in Gotham. He was just doing other stuff.
Yeah, he was
just
busy in
busy.
a different universe. He used one of those knives and cut through and went through into a different universe for a little while and came back. But anyway, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It was great just to just chat nonsense about the news. It's honestly one of my favorite things. Our next podcast, please tune in. We have really exciting stuff coming into that. Onto our next podcast. We have K-Legs, who is an unbelievable painter, an unbelievable advocate for the Warhammer community, kindly coming onto our podcast just to speak about women in Warhammer and just chat through her experiences, what she likes to paint, her favorite stuff about the hobby. It would just be really, really great. So please tune in for that. As always, we have our club nights happening twice a week. This week it's going to be Thursday. So, and then next week is also Thursday, just because of different stuff that's happening in the unit that we use for our club nights. But Monday night still the same, and then we'll go back to the exact same rotation of our Mondays and our Fridays. So many people coming down, so much Warhammer being played. Is actually so great. And one thing that I would highly recommend is literally play someone you haven't played before. Like, don't just find the person, DM them and say, hey, do you want a game? Play different people, play different armies, because people play so differently, and it's so interesting to meet other people, to see how they play, to play different armies, play different lists. It's just great, and I've had some really great experiences over the last couple of weeks just playing different people, and I'm playing someone different that I haven't played before on Thursday as well. So I'm really looking forward to that. But that would be my one bit of advice just as we wrap up today to all our members. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us, and please leave us a comment, a like, share, subscribe, all that beautiful stuff. And please come down to the club if you're ever in Glasgow, or if you live in Glasgow, join the club. And we will catch you again very, very soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys. Bye.